Hi everyone, welcome back to my show. Today I have of the Office of Public Safety, Darryl Woodson. Darryl, thank you so much for joining me today. Something really interesting that a lot of people may or may not know about Darryl is that he actually draws and paints, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, in his free time he actually has some paintings down in Centro across from campus ministry, which is really cool. I'm going to show you a few of those later. But to start out, just how did you get interested in drawing? How did you find out that that was something that you were good at?
Wow. Okay. Flashback.
Okay.
Background. I just started doodling. Like my cousins would doodle, then my mom would do a little something, and my uncles. So I had family members that draw. But then one day I was just like, I started doing it myself. Then I saw this movie. I was 13. I saw this movie called Style Wars, STYLE Wars, and it was about New York graffiti. And there was a documentary on PBS, and I was like, oh, yo, they look like me. I was like, I can do that. Hold up. The next thing you know, it started with a spray can and a dream. Then from there, just like, hey, I couldn't stop.
It's really interesting, and it's interesting also that you mentioned about graffiti, because a lot of your paintings are actually the graffiti inspired. So would you say that that's your favorite type of art to do?
Yeah, I try to be versatile and draw everything, but it just always goes back to that. And it's funny because when people ask me a question, I'm like, I can't help it. It's like, hey, I'm gonna be my authentic self. It's like earlier today I was like I was telling you before the camera, I was doodling, and of course that's here I turn it this way.
Yeah, I was doodling that earlier. That's incredible.
Yeah. I had this stencil. It's a freight train stencil, so I just put something on it, sitting while I had some free time.
Yeah, good to know. And do you have a favorite medium you like to use whenever you're drawing or doing any of that?
No, not actually. I do this. I use a pencil. I use my number 2 pencils. Like today, I was using Sharpie, Copic markers. It doesn't really matter, Iron Lac spray paint, Montana spray paint sometimes.
Awesome. And so I wanted to go ahead and ask you about a couple of the paintings that are down there. My favorite one actually is Inspiration Playing Through the Headphones. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about that, the inspiration for that?
Okay. That's an old school. It's an old school singer by the name of Mavis Staples. I was working on a piece and I was doing some research, and I ran across this piece, this picture of her in the studio, and she had orange earphones on, and she was just like they're singing a song, whatever the song she was singing. I was like, I can do that. Yeah, I need. So I copied off the internet, and then I was just at home one day, and I was just sitting, and I got that feeling. I put my earphones on when I'm drawing, so it's like I start banging that piece out. That was the end result of it. What you see?
It's really cool. I really like that one. And also you have one of Muhammad Ali as well. That one's really incredible. I'm assuming just a fan of Muhammad Ali, or?
Oh, it goes deeper than that. Listen, all right. I have family members that went to Central High School.
Okay.
Ever since I was a child, I've heard a story about Muhammad Ali. I'm talking about everyone that's told me, no exaggeration, my fault, no cap. I've never heard the same story. I'm just like, dang. So one day I got a chance to meet him. It just happened to be a chance encounter. I was going back to the house because I lived on 11th Street. And he was on 4th Street. What they call 4th Street Live used to be the Galleria. So it was a box truck. He was sitting in front of the box truck, and he was autographing a book. I wasn't paying attention to the line. I was like, oh, that look like dude. That's what I said. I was like, oh, I'm across the street. And I walked up to the table, and he said, hey, he spoke, I spoke. He's like, what's your name? I said, Darryl. He said, I know you. And I was like, yes, that's fine. What you gonna say? I was like, all right. All right. He signed the book. He gave it to me. We exchanged pleasantries. I went on down the street, and as I'm going to the street, I said, dang, I didn't tell him my name. I opened the book up. He spelled my name, Darryl.
Correctly.
So I'm like, oh, I'm ecstatic. I'm floating. Busting the door, I run in the house. I tell my aunt, I was like, hey, I just met Muhammad Ali's down on 4th Street, autographing his book, boom, boom. She just, I never forget it. God rest her soul. She was standing in the kitchen and she just turned and looked at me and was like, didn't we tell you? I was like, huh? She's like, I told you that already. I was like, yes, ma'am.
You just don't argue with it.
Yeah, I couldn't, nothing I could say. She just like, oh, she just brought me down to earth like, boom, you wasn't listening and I wasn't.
Yep.
So when he passed in 2016, everyone was drawing the same photograph. The one with him leaning over, when he first won a title, him standing over Sonny Liston. And I got so sick of looking at that. So this Ink Joy commercial came on, and they kept talking about they don't smudge.
Do they?
Believe it. Yes, they do. Because I'll tell you a little something. If you look at the piece, I had to cover my hand, Yeah, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you. So I'm doing it, and I use the Ink Joy pencils, and that's what came out. Because that's what he had on when I saw him. He had on a black suit.
So it's like a rep, like basically just like a eyewitness of what you saw that day.
And that's the photograph. Was going through the internet, doing my research, and I came across that photograph, and I was like, oh, light bulb. That's how he looked. That's what he had on when I saw him. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this one.
Have you met anybody else like famous and interesting?
Oh gosh, yeah, I was that guy. If someone came to town and I liked them, if it was a music artist, yeah, I'm going to meet him. Yeah, I'm him. Yeah.
You're him.
Yeah, I'm him. Yeah, most definitely.
Oh,
Like, if I like, it didn't matter who it was. It's like, oh, I'm gonna find out where they stand, and I'm gonna go and the power of persuasion. I'll figure it out, and I'll go and I introduce myself to that individual. But yeah, I had a chance to meet a few people. It's pretty cool.
Like who? You can just. Who was like your favorite? Other Muhammad Ali's pretty big deal, but like a couple of other ones that were really, really cool.
Favorite? Oh God! I tell you who I had an attitude with.
Yeah, tell me that.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm a loyal guy. I'm a Georgetown Hoya fan. So when I moved to Miami back in the '80s, when I moved to Miami in 1990, it was the All-Star game. So it was All-Star weekend, and I was in the hotels because I lived down the street from the hotel. So I got a chance to meet Michael Jordan. I wasn't impressed.
What?
I've never owned a pair of Jordans in my life. It's no hate. I'm so sorry.
No, that's
But
just interesting.
when I saw him, he had his little, it's prime Michael Jordan. He had his little white Jordan jersey, tracksuit on, and I was like, hey. And
Just saying, hey.
all I could do was when I saw him, all I could do was see him jumping up in there, shooting a jump shot, and beating my team for the championship. I'm a loyal guy. I'm sorry. I can't apologize for being loyal.
It's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, in the year of the Chinese zodiac, I'm year of the dog, so I'm loyal.
Good. Well, that's interesting to know as well.
That was funny because when I told people, it's like, you did what? I was like,
And
I'm a Dominique Wilkins guy anyway, so it was like, hey, I met
just another guy, you know.
Yeah, I met a bunch of NBA players, which was cool. Rappers. Jeez. Oh, the Wu-Tang story.
Okay.
Okay, Wu-Tang Clan story. I was working at 93. They had just put out their single. It was Protect Your Neck. So I was working for Free Ground Magazine in Miami. It was underground hip hop magazine in Miami. So I remember getting a phone call, and she was like, Cindy, she was like, hey, don't go down. She's the editor. She was like, hey, don't come to the office. I'm like, huh? She said, don't come to the office. I was like, what happened? She said, D took a picture of Ghostface Killer, and he's pissed. Internet. So it was like, what? But at the time when they first came out, Ghostface Killer used to always wear the stocking cap to conceal his face, and it was like, oh, okay, cool, this is fun. So it was like.
So did you just go anyway though?
No, because we had heard the story that in New York they had brought 195 people to a club.
Dang.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't even know 10 that I can call up and say.
Me either.
I'm like, these dudes is deep. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. No.
That's really interesting. You just have so many fun
It's just
stories.
It was a blessing. It was a blessing. I can't sit here and go, yeah, you know what? Nah, it was a blessing.
That's really cool. To kind of wrap up, are you still like doing artwork like that and trying to get it like displayed? Are you still doing bigger pieces like that, or just more doodles now when you get the time?
For me, art is therapy. So I'm always continuously drawing. Right now, I'm working on getting in the Muhammad Ali Center. I don't want to exhibit. I don't, I'm not asking them to commission a piece for me. I need commission artwork. No, I just want to be able to take my children into the Ali Center and go, hey.
I did that, yeah.
All right.
That would be the coolest thing, for sure.
So it's like, I'm not asking for much. But, being a Louisvillian. Yeah, it's the first time I ever said that, wow. So it's like, and knowing the family history is like, yeah, that's one thing.
Well, it's a really good goal to have. I really think. I hope that happens for you. So
I'll keep posted.
Keep us posted. We want to know.
Power of persuasion.
The art. It's an art.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Well, Darryl, thank you so much for joining me. This was really fun. I'm glad that I got to share your talent with everybody. That's super exciting. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. I will see you all again next week.